Good evening, everybody, and welcome into the Igloo for this matchup between the 8-10-1 George Mason Patriots and, of course, the 8-11 Temple Owls. Some starting lineups for the Owls: Ian Stonefield, Joe Stallasio, Blake Richmond, James Owen, and Callum Moran. Stephen Glick is in goal for the Owls. And we're starting things off on the other end. Moran dips it off to the other side, and the Owls are quick to move up. Richmond leading the charge. Fires towards the net, goes into the glass. Goes behind the net. Owen dumps it out to the lineman. Fires towards the net. Stallasio goes high and wide. Stallasio racing after his missed shot. This one goes back across the blue line. The Owls are forced to retreat. Richmond and Stallasio heading behind the net to chase the loose puck. Morgan will dump it out, trying to dump it out anyway, but instead it gets right back into their zone for George Mason. Weiler trying to get it out of the zone. It's a good job by the Owls, keeping it in the offensive zone. The Owls using this to get a line change. Timothy Contos brings it behind the net for George Mason. Starting lineup for the Patriots: Nicholas Wiley, Patrick Chapman, Matthew Price, Timothy Contos, and William McGrath, and Tanner Rusknat in net. George Mason trying to get an offensive system going here. Seth Lerner just dumps it over the middle. Wiley picks it up. And dump it over to Clark. Clark going behind the back of the net. And Google quick to meet it. Dumps it over the middle to Buczewski. Buczewski brings it up. Dumps it over the other side. Rudolph has it. Brings it behind the net. Rudolph looking for that open man. Dumps it over to Gay. Shot goes left. Sweeney keeping it in play, using his body, getting knocked down in the process. George Mason comes up with the loose puck. Racing up the side, fires towards the net. It's quickly deflected. Good shot there by Raymond Booth. Puck is still loose in the corner, and they bring it out. Temple has it. Trying to hang on to it. Barnett fires towards the net with a backhanded shot, and it goes right into the glove of Rusnak. Rusnak is the starter this season for George Mason. 9 games played, 4 wins, 5 losses, and 87.3 save percentage for him this season. Only allowed 38 goals all season long, average of 4.5 per game. Richmond loses this puck. Ringwood, rather. Dumps it off. The shot's deflected right in front of the net. Puck's still loose. It goes behind. Geary brings it out. Gives it, fires towards the net. Puck is still loose in the front. Ringwood comes up and puts it into the corner. Maglio dumps it off to Lerner. Goes behind the net. Ringwood comes up with it. Still looking for the open man. Ringwood fires towards the net. Goes high and left. Lerner comes up with it. He's just going to dump it in behind the net again. Pilarski loses the puck. Good defense there by Quinn Alley. Alley still fighting for it. Dumps it behind him. And Tarago comes up with it. Alley still behind the net. Puck between his skates. Doesn't see it. George Mason comes away with it. Timothy Marisco, elbow to break out. Takes a big hit from Ringwood. He is still down. Slow to get up. They're going to call an offsides. Marisco taking a big hit into the boards from Hunter Ringwood. As he gets that for another face-off. George Mason wins this draw. 2-0 now on the draws for the night. And this puck's going to go all the way to the other end of the ice. Stonefield is going to dump it behind him. Lerner trying to get back in it. Moran back in the game. Still fighting forward to bring it up. Buczewski brings it up. 2-on-1. Offsides is called. Charles Phillips a little bit too fast on the skates there. He was on the left side of the ice. It was just a hair across before the puck crossed the blue line, so we'll get our third face-off of the game. Puck still loose. Temple comes up with it. Right at Charles Phillips. Dumps it off. Over Moran. Gives it off once again. Maglio hanging on to it. Gives it off to Stonefield, looking for an open man. He'll just dump it over to Moran. Good job by Chapman to dump it back into the zone. Walker brings it up, dumps it off. Again, some nice defense from George Mason. Temple had to control this pace early on in the game. Since then, George Mason has applied the clamps, and they are not letting the Owls back into their zone. Just over 4 minutes gone here in the first period. Stelasio brings it up. The freshman starter fires towards the net. His puck goes off the pads of Rusnick. Able to retrieve the rebound, though. Gives it over to Owen. Trying to keep it in play, but he can't. Braden Reed can't hang on to that puck. Goes across the blue line. They're trying to give it off. They'll give it to Chapman. Chapman brings it up over the middle. Fires towards the net. It goes way high off the pads. It goes out over the net and out of play. It's funny enough, during warm-ups, we saw a lot of shots from George Mason. They were going way over the net. They almost did us a few times in our zone. And that was another example of that, going way too high. Good pressure, though, from Chapman. He had a lane to skate, bringing it up. Had a lane to shoot, too. Just couldn't connect. He gets set for another face-off. Temple currently 1 and 2 on draws this evening. Blake Richmond was going to take it, instead they'll switch in. And George Mason once again wins the draw, able to keep it in the zone. Nice job from Whaley. Guniet trying to keep it in play. This puck's going to sail all the way to the other end of the ice. Temple taking advantage of it, trying to get a line change in. They will. Temple wants an icing call. They will not get it. Barrett and Guniet fighting in the corner for it. Give it over to Reed. Puck still loose. Fires towards the net. And Alley comes up with it. Dumps it behind. And Rudolph going to bring it up the left side. Give it to Barrett. Barrett loses the puck. Able to recover it. Trying to find an open man. He was trying to give it to Lerner, who was switching into the game. But Raymond Booth was ready to deflect it and almost caught the loose puck, and he would have had no one to beat. Al's now back on offense. Rudolph loses the puck. Alley comes up with it. Alley dumps it off to Tangaro. Lick getting ready to take the shot. George Mason loses the puck once again. Rudolph brings it up the left side. He's got a lane, puts it, trying to put it into the middle, and gets decked by a defender. Fires towards the net, goes behind, off the back pads of Charles Phillips. Alley just going to dump it in, trying to get it all the way to the other end to Morisco, and he will. Puck's loose in front. Erie comes out with it. He's got 3-man to beat, trying to cut to the outside. Goes behind the nets, trying to fight through the pressure, lose the puck, and George Mason comes up with it. Timothy Contos is going to fling it to the other end and get a line change in. Temple bringing it up once again. This pass is quickly broken up. Sharp loses it. Ringwood trying to hang on to it, brings it behind the net, looking for an open man. Gives it off, dumps it off once again, takes a shot. Goes right into the pads of Rusnick. That time Callan Moran took the shot. So far the shots on goal, 5 shots on goal for Temple, just 1 for George Mason. 7 minutes gone here in the first period. And the flow of this game really has changed hands a couple of times. Temple was in control early. George Mason kind of took things over, controlling the tempo of the game. Since then, it's been a much more even matchup. Stonefield trying to hang on to it. Moran's just going to have to dump it all the way to the other end again. We might get another icing. No icing is called. Riley looking behind the net, looking for an open man. Nagler trying to break out the pass. Phillips nearly kept it in the play, but he can't hang on to it. Dump it off to Moran. Walker loses it. Puck in front, takes a shot, goes wide. Falls down as he shoots. Ringwood forces to dump it up. Trying to chase down the loose puck. George Mason trying to keep it in play, and they won't. Got momentum now. Maglio fires. Phillips. Great glove save by Rusnick. I don't know how in the world he saw that puck. Maglio, 4 bodies were in front of him. He had all day to shoot, but somehow Rusnick able to grab it through midair, through tons of traffic. Still a 0-0 game. George Mason winning the draw once again, but Temple will keep it in their zone. Salacio trying to hunt down the loose puck. Alley will take it behind, into the corner, dumps it off to the other end to Lynch. Go back to Alley. Richmond trying to chase it down. Loose puck behind the net. Still is for it. Salacio trying to poke it free. Temple can't hang on. They're forced to retreat. George Mason fires again. That time Dillon took the shot and it goes left. Back to center ice. Owen can't hang on. He loses it. Clark comes over. He'll just dump it into Temple zone. Look, will keep it behind his net. Guinea gives it off to Reed. Trying to give it to Bucheski. He's had a few breakaway opportunities again. Takes the shot. Goes left. Goes all the way back to Temple side. Rolling off the glass all the way to the other end of the ice. And dumps it behind. Back to center ice. Barrett keeping it in play. George Mason once again on the attack. Tangora leading the way. Dumps it behind the net. Briscoe kind of trying to hang on to it in the corner. Puck still loose, still fighting for it. Temple once again on the attack. Rudolph bringing it up. Brucheski rather. Takes the shot, goes. Still loose for it. Somehow misses it right in front. It doesn't go in. Takes a shot once again. Another great save from Rusnick. I don't know how in the world that didn't go in. Bucheski puts it right in front. Loose puck right in front. They just couldn't tap it in. And they had another chance, but Rusnick, to his credit, falling down on his bottom, able to grab it through the air before it goes in. Another great save. He's faced 8 shots, while Stephen Glick, for example, has only faced 2. Still the puck loose once again in the front. Lerner fires towards the net. Goes off the glove. Miranda looking forward in front, trying to hang on. Lerner gives it off to Pilarski. Pilarski's going to fling it into their zone. Trying to put it in front once again. Erie, loose puck once again. George Mason comes up. A big hit from Pilarski, knocking him into the goal referee. Santos leading the attack now. Just going to dump it in. Glick. And he's just going to sit on this one. Just under 10 minutes to play here in the first period. Still a scoreless tie at the moment. Both teams have had their chances. It's really been a back-and-forth matchup so far. And these teams come into this matchup with nearly identical records. George Mason 8-10-1, Temple 8-11, both seeking their 9th win of the season. And George Mason able to keep his own. Fires towards the net. It goes wide and right. Chapman trying to keep it in play. Goes back to the other end. And keeps it. Stonefield has it. Still fighting for the loose puck. Trying to get a shot off. They can't. Goes behind the net. And Stonefield comes up with it. Stonefield trying to get it away. Loose puck in front. And Temple comes up with it. Still just trying to get out of their zone. Takes a shot and it goes off the leg of Lerner. That time Nicholas Wiley took the shot for George Mason. Now he loses the puck. Open breakaway chance now for Temple. Maglio brings it up. Trying to find it, put it in the front. He can't get it in front. Take the shot. Phillips' shot goes off the glass. Fight for the puck at the blue line. Phillips loses it. Another breakaway chance. Raymond Booth bringing it up. dumps it in front of the net, and Temple comes up with it. Reed's going to dump it off, trying to get to one of the men getting switched out into the game. It goes right back into their zone. Still fighting for the loose puck, goes into the corner. Reed bringing it from behind the net, gives it off to Stonefield. Stellacio loses it, takes a shot towards the net, and it sails right. Whistle is blown. Looks like a delayed penalty, maybe. Instead, they'll say it went out of play, so it will be another face-off just to the left of the Temple goalkeeper. Takes a shot in front. Too many bodies in the way. Still fighting for it. Who's coming up with it? Goes into the corner, the other end of the ice. Temple's able to recover it. They're forced to fling it in and avoid the offsides. George Mason just trying to get it out of their zone at this point. Rudolph using his hand to catch this one. Gives it over. Takes a shot. Rudolph can't get the rebound in time. Give it over to Lynch. Passes it up to McCauley. Good defense there by Kucheski. Rudolph comes up with the puck, goes back behind into the corner in George Mason's zone. Temple using this chance to get a line change in. And this pass can't connect. Quinn Alley was trying to get it to Timothy Contos. Instead, it sails just past his stick, goes all the way to the end, so icing will be called. Fresh set of legs for the Owls. Hunter Ringwood comes in along with Pilarski, Michael Erie, Nolan Sauer, and Seth Lerner. George Mason wins the draw, but dump it into the other end. Erie, great job keeping it in play. Ringwood gives it off. Pilarski looking for an open man. Still no one to shoot. Gives it off. Sauer takes a shot. Another good save by Rusnick. 6:36 left to play in the first period. Credit Michael Erie on that last play. Able to somehow didn't even see where the puck was. Using the backhand of his stick to keep it in play. Ringwood then would take it behind, trying to find open man. Pilarski then dumps it off to Sauer. Another good shot, just couldn't get to the back of the net. 13 shots faced, no goals yet. Lerner trying to put it in front. And this one nearly hitting our cameraman, Jake Gable. Thankfully, it's all good, but we will have another face-off. Ringwood will take it for Temple, and Price will take it for George Mason. Price brings it up, along with Contos. And Erie will bring it up. He's got no one to beat, gives it off to Ringwood. Ringwood trying to put it in front, but good defense by Chapman, using his skates to break up the pass. Sauer can't keep it in play, and they're forced to back to center ice. Pilarski trying to tip it into the zone. He will. The Temple's calling for another line change. Chapman brings it up the left side, dumps it into the other end. Ends up on the stick of Dillon. Dillon's still fighting for the loose puck. And Maglio comes out with it. He's got a long way to go, 3 men to beat. Springs him behind, trying to put it in front, he can't. Stonefield keeps it in play. Maglio's there to receive behind. Walker trying to put it in, still fighting for the loose puck. And Rusnick's just going to sit on it to end the madness. 15 shots for Temple in this first period, only 4 for George Mason. You want to credit Tanner Rusnak. He has been hanging on for dear life so far in this game. 15 shots faced, not a single goal allowed. Moran flings it back from center ice. Rusnick's going to give it off to Chandler Lynch. Lynch dumps it into the other end. Icing is called. Had the right idea. He was trying to get it to one of the advancing forwards, just couldn't connect with them. .509 left to play here in the first period. Phillips will take it for Temple against Dillon for George Mason. Temple comes up with it. Maglia is able to get it. Referee having to block his face to avoid contact. Stonefield fighting up against Booth. And the puck goes back into Temple's zone. Moran comes up with it. He gives it off to Walker. Maglio just gonna have to dump it in. Walker trying to keep the play. Takes a big hit into the boards from Lynch. Game getting very physical in this game. Reed falls down to one man to beat. Alley shoots and he scores. Quinn Alley taking advantage of Bladen Reed's mistake. Reed fell down as he was advancing. Just couldn't hang on to it, couldn't keep his footing. And after that, Quinn Alley had no one to beat. Easy shot right underneath the skate, goes in, and George Mason draws first blood. George Mason only 5 shots in this game, a third of what Temple has, and yet they're the ones leading right now. Temple looking to bounce back here. Sauer gives it off to Lerner. This is going to dump it in. Stelasio trying to keep it in play, and he will. Goes into the corner. And Sharp will just give it off. He's going to fling it to the other end. Sauer able to hang on. But Chisanis is quick on his pursuit. Dumps into the corner to Lerner. Still flying forward. Takes a big hit. Still trying to control the loose puck. Temple loses a great job by Richmond using his hand to keep it. Fires and it goes left. Lacio dumps it off to Sauer. Sauer takes a shot from the blue line. Can't connect once again. That time Chisanis using his stick to block the shot. Takes a shot once again. It goes off the leg. George Mason just trying to control the tempo. Just under 4 minutes to play in the first period. Just trying to control things. Going to the end of the first period on a good note. Stonefield finding behind the back of the net. Unia gives it off. Still has the puck. He's going to use the glass to bounce it off. Puck still in their zone. It goes back behind the net once again. Stonefield has to chase after it. Barrett looking for an open man, trying to give it to Rudolph. He will. Rudolph gives it off once again. Bucheski fires. Sails high into the net. Temple looking to tie things up before the final minutes of the period expire. Bucheski will take it against Price. George Mason with the draw, flinging it against the boards, goes all the way to the other end, waiting for an icing to be called. No icing is called. Didn't look like anyone touched it, but one of the players got their stick on it before it could be called icing. So it will remain in Temple's zone. Unia gives it out to Bucheski. Barrett trying to hang on to it. Bucheski keeps it. Still it puts it in front. Rudolph can't connect. Wide open lane to shoot, just couldn't get his stick in time. Barrett looking for no man, still has the puck. Barrett fighting through traffic, loses it. Trying to get it back, still fighting through traffic with the puck. Gives it off to Rudolph. Rudolph fighting forward in the corner. Barrett trying to help him out. They lose the puck. Lerner keeps it in play, takes a big hit against the boards from Kontos. Barrett still trying to chase after the loose puck. 2 minutes to play in the first. Price can't hang on to this pass. It goes behind him. Wiley will just hold on to it, gives it off to Quinn Alley. Alley looking for an open man. Gives it to Booth. Buck Dillon with it, fires! And Glick is forced to jump on top of it. Some choice words between the players after the fact. Steven Glick, 13 games played this season, 8 wins, 5 losses. When he's in goal, he's credited with all 8 of Temple's wins this season. 91.4 save percentage on 360 shots faced this season, and only 34 goals allowed all season long. Moves it off, Ringwood fires towards the net. It goes off the stick of Allen. Goes all the way back to the blue line. Temple trying to keep it in play. Offside is called, so they're forced to back up again. Randall just going to dump this behind Temple's net. Glick is forced to jump on top of it. Bad bounce of the puck there. Went right in front of Glick, and he's just forced to jump on him before anyone could react. Timothy Mariska will take this face-off for George Mason. George Mason wins the draw yet again. Here he dumps it behind. Trying to get it to Walker. Walker, nice stick handling to hang on. Walker trying to cut to the outside, gets past Maglio. Still with the puck, bringing it coast to coast. Fighting in the corner for it now. Big hit against Phillips. Trying to grab the loose puck in the corner, looking for an open man. Walker still with the puck, somehow fighting up against Alley and multiple other defenders. And this puck bounces into the net and out of play. Great effort there by Waller. He had Quinn Alley and Lance Jasandis all over him, and yet still somehow able to hang on. George Mason at one point had to just fling it out because he was about ready to give it off to Maglio. Speaking of which, Maglio gives the stone wheel. And this shot's deflected. Only one man to beat. Marisco brings it up, trying to put it in front. Trying to get to DeSantis, and it goes back towards the blue line. Stonefield still fighting for it, and it goes into the corner. Side with the puck, trying to give it to Maglio, and he will. Maglio brings it across center ice. Gets passed all the way into the corner. Maglio, Phillips comes up with the loose puck, under 30 seconds. Maglio fighting up against resistance. Chandler Lynch trying to punch it in. Delacio with the puck, still with it in front of his skates, can't hang on. Lerner with it, 15 seconds now, puts it behind the net. Phillips has it. Trying to get in front, trying to get a shot up before time expires. George Mason grabs it, and they'll take it, and they'll take the last few seconds, and that will end the first period. So after one, George Mason leading Temple 1-0. There's still plenty of action left to go in what has been a very exciting game. We're going to take a quick break aside, but when we come back, we'll have the second period for you and more here on the Temple Ice Network. And we are back for the second period of action between the George Mason Patriots and, of course, the Temple Owls. George Mason striking late in the first period off a Quinn Alley goal. Bladen Reed was trying to get a pass. He fell down in the process. Quinn Alley takes advantage of the confusion and scores a quick goal with 4:35 left in the first period. Temple looking to shore things up here in the second. And we are underway. Wiley will give it off. Dumps it over the middle. Contos can't hang on. It's forced to go back into Temple's zone. Man brings it behind the net. Richmond trying to get it out of the zone. George Mason fired. It goes left. Chapman bumps it in back behind the net once again. Stonefield trying to get it out. George Mason doing a good job controlling the pace. Shoots, and it goes right into the pads of Glick. Still Alacio trying to poke it free, trying to get it out of the zone for the first time in the period. Stonefield comes up with a loose puck. Gives it off to Moran. They're going to use their hand. Price using his hand, jumping through the air to keep it in place. Stonefield brings it up the middle. Comes it over to Stalacio, checks into the boards. Icing is called. It didn't look like it was close enough for icing. It looked like he was close enough to center ice to get the pass off, but they called it regardless. So back into their zone they go. Both these teams looking for their 9th win of the season. Richmond takes this face off. Good sample, Alley dumps it into the zone once again. Stalacio brings it up the right side. Stalacio cuts to the middle, trying to fight through traffic. Stalacio loses the puck. And George Mason once again on the attack. They bring it up, takes a shot, it goes left. Goes off the pads once again. Vic fakes it. A lot more pressure in this period than he has so far in the entire first period. Rudolph knocks him down. Big hit from Rudolph against Quinn Alley. George Mason, great puck control so far. Dylan looking for an open man, trying to put it in front. Dumps it off. Back to Lynch. Price takes a shot again. Dylan's shot goes off the pads. Richmond can't hang on. Stalacio trying to grab at it. Goes to the other end. Alley just dumps it in behind. Dylan fighting for the loose puck. Moran trying to get it out, but Lynch keeps it in play. Lynch fires over the middle and goes right into the face mask of Glick. Puck still loose in front, still fighting for it, trying to get it in. It goes right. And Clark trying to hang on to that puck, but it goes behind into the corner again. Moran trying to get it to Rudolph. Temple trying to get some fresh set of legs on the ice. Richmond loses the puck, goes back into the corner. No icing called. As Sauer waits for a few men to switch out. Sauer brings it out the right side, over to Barrett. Barrett bringing it up over the right side, gets decked into the boards in the process. Trying to put it in front. Walker hanging on to it, loses it. Rudolph still on the ice. He's been out there the entire period so far. Sauer trying to grab at the loose puck. Going up against DeSantis. Loses the puck once again, puts it in front, takes a shot. Dylan's shot goes right into the shoulder of Glick. Sauer having a few choice words against Tim Morisco. Poked at Glick after the play was over and the whistle was blown. Still 1-0 with 17 minutes left to play in the second period. And Ringwood trying to poke at the loose puck, but DeSantis gets it. Pilarski, he comes away with it. It's a 2-on-2. Pilarski bringing it up the left side, fires towards the net. It goes right into the gut of Rusnak. Great breakaway opportunity for Temple, just couldn't capitalize on it. Bit of an acrobatic display from Robert Pilarski. Puck bouncing through the air, somehow able to grab it with his stick and get a breakaway opportunity. Instead, it's still a 1-0 lead for George Mason. George Mason pouring on the shots. Already 5 shots on net against Temple in this period. They only had 6 in the entire first period. Puck back at center ice, still fighting for it. It goes into the corner. As Chapman will bring it up. But Gunia breaking that up. Kolarski comes out with it again, takes the shot. Still loose in front, still looking for it. Able to fall on top of it just in the nick of time. Tanner Rusnick. That puck was loose in front of the net for what seemed like an age. Instead, still Temple yet to get on the board. They've had plenty of chances to. 820 shots on net against Rusnick so far tonight. Just haven't been able to capitalize. The puck goes back down to center ice and all the way into Temple's zone. Stonefield brings it behind the net. Trying to outrace Contos, and he will. Gives it over to Phillips. Someone loses their stick in the process. Dumps it over to Stonefield, brings it over to the right side. Trying to get the corner, goes decked into the boards. Phillips loses it, trying to hang on, still with the puck. Trying to sling it into the net, but he can't get there. Maglio up against the left side of the blue line, trying to keep it in play. Give it over to Phillips, and he loses it. Price brings it up. Matthew Price, one man to beat, still fighting for it. Stephen Glick, risky move to jump on top of it. Huge risk there by Stephen Glick. If he misses that or misses the puck, Matthew Price would have an open net to take an easy shot and make it a 2-0 game. But sometimes risk pays off in a big way, and it did right there. 1-0, 15:44 left to play. Sauer flings it across behind the net, over to Barrett. He's got one man to beat. Barrett racing into the corner, up against Lynch, brings it back and behind the net. Lerner comes up with it for Temple. Gives it over to Barrett behind the net once again. Rudolph fighting for it in front. Puck is loose again. Lutski comes out with it. Trying to get it checked out. And indeed they will. McCauley brings it up and he loses it. Barrett trying to hang on. He loses it. McCauley gets the puck back. It's just left of Glick. McCauley still fighting behind the net. Quinn Alley. Now with the puck up against Rudolph, trying to poke free. And Lerner using it to his advantage. Buski races up over to Barrett. Barrett fires towards the net. And another great save from Rusnick. Great 2-on-1 chance for Temple, just again unable to capitalize. They've had plenty of chances, 22 shots now for the Owls in this matchup. And the lone goal of the game scored by Quinn Alley. He actually leads the team in assists with 14 this season. 3 goals on the year now. Or now 3 goals before this game, 4 goals now after tonight. Temple wins the draw, fires towards the net. An eerie shot goes off the pads of one of the George Mason players, and he still loses the puck, racing up the ice. Dillon takes a shot and puts it in front. But Glick reacting in time. Ringwood dumps it over to Erie. Erie brings it up. He loses the puck. And the player poked it free. Dillon brings it up over the middle for George Mason. He gets knocked down in the process. Gunia can't hang on to it. Booth brings it in. Dillon fires towards the middle, trying to put it in front. It goes off the skate of Glick. Kolarski moves it over to Erie. Erie dumps it in behind the net. Ringwood trying to chase it down. Able to keep it in their zone. Still fighting for it against the boards, and it goes back into the corner again. Ringwood decking Wiley into the boards now. And this puck should sail all the way to the other end of the ice, waiting for an icing to be called, and indeed it will. And the amount of shots that Tanner Rusnick for George Mason has faced, 22 shots so far, and we're not even halfway through the second period. Meanwhile, Stephen Glick has faced 14 of his own and has allowed the lone goal of the game. Lerner fires, and it goes just off the leg of one of the defenders. This goes off the stick of Moran. It goes into the corner. Lerner brings it out from behind. Lerner racing up the right side, trying to outrace a few players. Able to get the puck all the way down into the opposite zone. Walker now, if it loses it, still fighting for it. Goes back to center ice. Able to keep it in place somehow. This shot goes off Rusnick's glove, and it goes out of play. Great defensive effort here from George Mason, blocking every shooting and passing lane that they can, breaking up everything. Temple was in control of the momentum of this game through most of the first period, but since then, George Mason has put the full court press on Temple, and so far it has worked to their advantage. Being far more aggressive on defense, taking much more shots. Already have more shots in this period than they had in the entire first. Racing it up. Sauer's the only man to beat. He loses the puck. Takes a shot. Goes off the crossbar. Would have been a huge backhanded score for Contos. Instead, it's a loose puck towards the face-off dot. This puck's still in play. Goes across the blue line. George Mason has to retreat. Instead, they'll keep it. Price fires towards the end. That sails right. Good shot by Price. Just a little bit too much mustard on that shot. Trying to put it in front for Price again. He can't. Stasio can't hang on to it. Trying to recover it. Instead, Price will just dump it in again. Sauer gives it off, trying to get Stasio on the other end. Instead, it goes past the stick and out to center ice. As Timothy Marisco will fling it in, and it goes behind the net. Stonefield comes up with it. Sauer fighting for it behind the net. Buczki trying to help him out up against two. George Mason up against two Patriots. Buczki passes it over to Rudolph. The whistle was blown, blowing the play dead. And it is a penalty against George Mason. It will be against Nicholas Tangora. The first penalty we've seen of the entire game. A very clean game up to this point. First penalty we've seen. It's going to be a 2-minute. It looked like it was from when they were behind the back of the net. Him and Stonefield were trying to poke for the loose puck, and he knocked him down after the play was over. And the puck was already gone. So the first power play of the game will go to Temple, looking to tie this game up. 12:05 left to play in the second period. Temple loses this draw, and it goes back out to center ice, given over to Stonefield. Price just did a great job getting his stick in the right place, just poking it into their zone. And the penalty was against Tangora for interference. Buczki brings it up over the middle. Cutting through multiple players, gives it over for Rudolph. Fire! Scoots! He scores! Julian Rudolph, the first goal of the game for Temple as they tie it up off the power play. Off a beautiful assist from Ryan Bucheski. And we are all tied up at 1. Temple taking full advantage of the power play. George Mason looking to retake the lead, but this is a big momentum shift for the Owls. Uniet gives it over to Ringwood. He loses it, goes off his stick. Lynch fires towards it, he shoots, he scores! Just when it looked like the momentum was back in Temple's favor, Chandler Lynch ties the game up, or takes the lead, scoring the second goal of the game. And that lead lasted all of 15 seconds for the Owls now. And they'll once again have to climb out of the hole. Sauer loses it again. Dillon comes out with it. Lerner loses the stick in the process. Someone has to help him out here. He doesn't have a stick to grab it. Maglio gives it over to Alley. Fires over the bench towards it, goes behind the net again. This puck's bouncing all over the place so far. Loose puck at center ice. Phillips comes out with it. 3-on-2. Phillips trying to get it. Still loose puck in front. Who's going to get it? And Dillon comes out with it for the Patriots. Lerner able to break up the advancement here from Dillon. Phillips dumps it over to Sauer. Gives it off and loses the puck. Jasanis keeps it in play for the Patriots. It's hit over the middle. Trying to get it to Phillips. Giving it off to Maglio. Goes between his skates and can't hang on. Marisco fighting for it. Still trying to poke it free. And he loses it. Goes to Glick. It goes back to Sauer. Sauer trying to get, once again, nearly hitting the camera. George Mason once again on the attack. Fires across the middle. Ends up on the stick of Tangoro. Can't hang on to it. It goes behind the net again. Tangoro can't get his shot off. Walker comes up with it for Temple. Trying to get it over to Owen. He falls down as he's skating. No penalty is called. It's dumped all the way back towards the blue line. Tangoro goes behind the net into the corner. Stonefield comes up with it. Looking for an open man over to the other side of the ice to Salacio. 2-man to beat. Brings it up the right side. It goes behind the net. Still fighting for the loose puck. Van hanging on. He keeps it in play. This puck's going to go back at the center ice. And Conto's trying to get a shot off. Before Glick falls on top of it. The puck's coming off its post there. Good attempt from Timothy Contos. A nice pass across the middle to him. Just couldn't get his shot off in time. They're going to have to reset the goal. It came off its hooks. Before we can resume play. Just under 9 minutes to play in the second period of what has been a very exciting matchup between these two teams. And brings it up, gets decked in the boards in the process. This puck's can go all the way to the other end. No icing is called, however. Bootski can't hang on to it. Barrett keeps it in the zone for the Owls. As Dillon races up once again. Excuse me, it's Magrath this time. He loses it, goes back into their zone. Icing is called. And going back to that power play goal, it was a really nice goal by Julian Rudolph off a nice assist from Bootski. But he gets erased almost instantly after George Mason strikes less than 15 seconds later. And this puck will go behind the net, gets decked into the boards. Moran with a nice hit. Feeds it to Alley. Over to Lynch. Lynch, loose puck, able to control it, lose it again. Stonefield comes up and uses his hand to grab it. And this puck just sailed all the way there and goes behind the net. Walker trying to put it in front, and he can. Goes back to Bootski. Rudolph. Rudolph fighting in the corner for it against two defenders. Puck is still loose behind the back of the net. Alley comes out with it for George Mason. This one's going to go into the Temple bench. Stop the clock with 7:46. And this has been a game of ups and downs, lefts and rights, and twists and turns all around. It would look like Temple was going to dominate this one, controlling the entire tempo of the first period. But since then, George Mason, like we said, has applied the press, and they have been pushing and pressuring them throughout the entire period. Alley comes up with a cross over the blue line, takes a shot, and Glick, using his glove to grab it, gives it off to Reed. Ringwood's going to hit it over the middle, trying to get it to Pilarski, but it's going to end up on the stick of Erie. Erie back to Ringwood. Great defense from George Mason. Great Booth with the stop. Jumping out in front to interrupt the pass. Dillon takes a shot towards the net. It goes off for player's skate. He's trying to get a shot off. He's trying to get it to Clark. Gooney and him were fighting for the loose puck in front of the net. Gooney it now with it, bringing it up over the middle. Gives it to Pilarski. Pilarski trying to cut loose, still with the puck, fighting for traffic all around. And it goes back towards the blue line. And back into Temple zone. No icing is called. Gooney has to get it. Over the middle, 1 man beat, only Price taking a shot, and it goes up. Misses his opportunity there. He was all alone, but a good save by Glick. Offsides is called. As Ryder Clark was trying to switch out. And Raymond Booth, that puck was right on his stick, only no one in front of him. I don't know how in the world he wasn't able to score. Regardless, there remains a 2-1 lead for the Patriots. If we get another face-off, Temple will take it behind the net. Sauer this time will. Sauer trying to get it over in front of the net. Dangerous position. Walker comes up with it. Trying to get a big hit from George Mason. This puck goes back into Temple zone. No icing, and now they will call it. 6 minutes to play here in the second period. A face-off in George Mason's zone. Aglio comes out with it, giving it over to Lerner, trying to get to Sauer. Sauer still with the loose puck. Phillips into the corner, gives it off to the other end. Maglio now with it. Maglio trying to fight for the loose puck. Now Phillips is involved. Lerner just has to get rid of it, and it goes into Temple's bench. We'll get set for a face-off at center ice. Stonefield keeps it, dumps it back into the neutral center ice. Stelasio up against the left side now. Gets it into the George Mason zone. Stonefield fires, great break up there. Jasanis trying to put it in front. Big hit from Stonefield. Marisco trying to find a man in front, trying to get to Jasanis. He can't get it. Stephen Glick jumping on it in the last second. Good strategy there, Tim Marisco, just trying to feed him in front. But Glick was too quick to react. Utsky will take this for Temple. Loose puck in front. Sheriff can't hang on to it. Rudolph with Barrett, 2-on-1 situation. Trying to get to Barrett. Barrett can't hang on to it. Goes behind the net. Still loose. Rudolph trying to get it over. Back towards the blue line. Gives it over to Barrett. Barrett gonna try and put it in front. Goes off the post. It almost went in. Hits just to the outside of the post, and it can't get in. Barrett with it back at center ice, brings it over the blue line. Barrett fires towards the net. Goes off the leg of one of the defenders. Into the corner now. Butsky trying to poke it free. Goes back to Guniet. Goes over, takes a shot, goes off the leg of Stonefield. Guniet again, keeping it in place, somehow hanging on. Rudolph comes up with it. Rudolph dumps it behind, back to Guniet. Guniet, no one back at the blue line, so he's got to be careful here. Reed trying to hang on, and he goes back down into Temple's zone. Icing is called, however, so Temple getting a little lucky there. .350 left to play in the second. Just gonna kick it behind their own net. Sauer able to keep it in play, shoots it towards the net, trying to get it to someone who's open. Really forced to dump behind the net. Puck loose up in the air, in front of the net, still loose. Here he's trying to poke it in. Lustig loose in front of the net, wide open. Back to Sauer. Sauer winds up, takes the shot. Right in front, can't get it. Goes behind again, Ringwood comes out with it. Pilarski trying to put it in front. Back to Lerner, Lerner puts it in front of the net. Goes behind. Ringwood trying to find open man, just gonna give it back to Lerner. Lerner over to Sauer, Sauer winds it up. Goes right into the gut of Rusnick. Another big save, 26 saves for the goalie tonight. An incredible effort from Tanner Rusnack here tonight. George Mason just trying to get it out of their zone. Maglio keeps it in play. Maglio fires towards the net, goes a cannon to the stomach of Rusnack. You have to respect the George Mason defense here tonight. Rusnack has been taking shot after shot, but they have definitely turned it up a notch after the slow start in the first period. After a slow start in the first period, goes behind the net. Phillips trying to get it up against Alley. Maglio comes up with the puck. Stonefield wants to rip it, instead he'll dump it over to Moran. Moran just gonna put it into the corner. Phillips trying to get after the loose puck. Moran with a big hit, and the puck goes back to center ice. Whistle is going to be blown. It looks like it will be an interference, or a hooking maybe. It is against Moran. It will be interference. And you hate to see it, but it did look like a clear penalty on that one. The puck was coming towards him, and he hit him right before, interrupting him. So he couldn't receive the pass, so he'll head to the box for 2 minutes. And that will basically be the last we see of him until the third period. With 2:17 left to play, Temple facing its first penalty kill of the evening. Dillon gives it back to Alley, back to Dillon. It was a cross-checking penalty, excuse me. Gives it back, Dillon, gonna give it over to Alley. Alley wants to wind it up, over to Dillon. Dillon shoots, goes off the stick, and way out of play. Almost hitting the ceiling in the process. And that's been this team's MO for most of this game on offense. Just controlling the tempo, feeding the defenders, and then getting after the loose puck in front while taking advantage of the mismatches. Good defense from Temple. Owen and Richmond jumping in front of the puck, and it goes all the way back into the Patriots zone. As Morisco brings it up, trying to put it in front. Sauer flings it back, and it goes across the blue line. Alley comes up with it for George Mason. Gives it back to Morisco. Trying to get past Sauer. Maglia lined up for a big hit, and he's choosing not to take it. Alley brings it to the corner, trying to get past Reed. He will. Morisco trying to put it in for another good job on the penalty kill for Temple. Fling it to the other end. Puck back at center ice now. Maglia will dump it back to Stonefield. Stonefield flings it back. And Dylan can't, trying to use his leg to catch the pass. He can't though. But Price skating it, racing up. Gives it back to Dylan. Ends up with Lynch, back to Dylan. Dylan giving it to Alley. Can't hang on to it. Back towards the blue line. Has to just dump it back into the zone. Booth trying to get a shot. It goes wide and right. Dylan trying to feed Lynch. He will. Lynch looking to wind up his shot. Back to Dylan. Takes the slap shot. Sails high. Bryce trying to put it in front. And goal is off its hinges. Maglia with it now. Trying to just get it out of the zone. And he will. Just 20 seconds left to play, and that will just about end the power play for George Mason. Whistle is blown. And it will be a penalty against George Mason. This one's on number 28, William McGrath, excuse me. So Temple, final 14 seconds of the period, they'll get a power play. They did score very quickly on their power play the last time they had it. And if they were able to tie this game up heading into the third period, that would be a huge momentum shift for the Owls. Moran gives it off to Steelfield, shoots, and it goes wide and high on that one. Has to get a shot, 4 seconds. Rudolph has to fling it towards the front of the net, can't get it off in time. So after two, the Patriots lead 2-1, following a quick goal from Timothy Contos after a power play goal from Julian Rudolph, just seconds after the fact. Gives them a 2-1 lead. We're going to take a quick break aside. When we come back, we'll have the third period for you and more here on the Temple Ice Network. And we are back for the third period of action between the Temple Owls and the George Mason Patriots. Hello, everybody. I'm Matt Reiner once again when you feel on the call. It's been a very exciting game so far. Temple controlling much of the pace of the first period before a goal from Quinn Alley of George Mason put the Patriots on the board late in the first period. Temple then tied it off a Julian Rudolph goal off a power play. But then just literally seconds later, Chandler Lynch taking the lead once again for the Patriots with just 11 minutes left to play in the second period. Since then, it was a scoreless tie. Temple's entering this period on a power play. 1:46 left to play in a power play off of a William McGrath penalty. Interestingly enough, George Mason had a power play in the final moments of the second period, but then it expired. And then the penalty occurred, so Temple having a chance to tie things up. Their lone goal in the evening was scored off the power play, so they have a chance here to try and tie things up before the final buzzer. Maybe send it to overtime and perhaps even win the game in regulation. And George Mason, they want to avoid overtime as much as possible. They already have an overtime loss this season. Temple yet to lose in overtime, so it'll be interesting to see how the rest of this game shakes out. We have the third period for you coming up right now, as Hunter Ringwood, Michael Erie, Seth Lerner, Robert Polarski, and Nolan Sauer take the ice for Temple. Cale Dillon, Chandler Lynch, Matt Price, and Quinn Alley will take the PK for George Mason. And Temple wins the draw. Lerner can dump it off to the other side to Sauer. Sauer taking his time, bringing it back deep into his own zone. Fling it over. Polarski can't hang on. Loose puck. Dillon racing up. He's going to dump it over to Sauer once again. Brings it across the blue line. Sauer going to dump it behind the back of the net. Ringwood gives it over to Polarski. Over to Sauer. Sauer wanting to wind up his shot. Keeps it. Sauer puts it behind to Ringwood. Loses the puck. Gets it over to Polarski. Polarski dumps it back to Ringwood. And it's still with the puck. Goes behind again. Polarski gives it off to Sauer. Sauer wants to wind it up. He will. Shoots! Loose puck in front. Still loose in front. Trying to poke it in. Right in front. Wide open net. They couldn't capitalize. Great stop from George Mason. And just under a minute to play in the power play. 49 seconds to be exact. Sauer brings it across the blue line again. Trying to get it to Butski. Switches in. Butski with it. Brings it up across the blue line. Gives it to Rudolph, back to Barrett. Barrett looking for an open man as we get a switch in. Stonefield comes in, gives it over. Guniet fires, sails right. Rudolph with it once again. Fighting through traffic, still brings him behind the back of the net. Under 30 seconds left in the power play. Barrett now with the puck. Ruski gives it over, takes the shot. Rudolph again goes over to the left. Barrett dumps it back to Stonefield. Stonefield over to Rudolph, over to Moran rather, back to Rudolph, over to Moran again. Rudolph with it towards the hash marks, forced it out behind the net. 5 seconds left in the power play. Temple's got to move quick. Barrett now with it. Even strength now. Butski fighting right up against the boards for it. And Contos brings it up, gives it over. Stonefield able to break up the breakaway attempt. Trying to put it in front to Alley, but multiple bodies were in the way. Trying to keep it in play. Moran using his hand to catch it. Trying to put it in the net, goes behind. Huge hit from Butski. Walker dumps it from behind, gives it over. Rudolph looking for an open man, goes past his stick. And George Mason once again back on the offensive side. Sanders can't hang on, he goes into the boards. Butski trying to get to it. And Moran comes out with it, 1 minute to beat. Lynch pokes it right back to center ice. Morisco cuts across the middle, trying to hang on, loses the puck into the corner. Just Sanders trying to catch it. Trying to get to Maglio. Instead, Lynch keeps it in play for George Mason. Fires towards the net before Glick hangs on. Disagreement in front of the net. There's 3 minutes gone here in the third period. Fires it and it goes high. Raymond Booth trying to take advantage. The puck went loose after the faceoff. Chased it down. Huge slap shot from him. Just too much power behind it. Sails way too high. Trying to hang on. Maglio trying to flick it into the middle. Scarf can't hang on. Trying to get to it. Goes back into Temple zone. Lerner dumps it behind the net. Trying to get to Maglio again. Sheriff hangs in. Dumps it into the Temple zone. Chase it down. It goes behind the net into the corner once again. Maglio trying to get to Phillips. Maglio fighting for it once again against the boards. Phillips comes up with it. Trying to put it into the middle to Walker. Can't get it. Walker catches it with his legs. Phillips puts it in and brings it up across the blue line, behind the net into the corner. Loose puck in the air. Walker trying to get it. He can't get to it. Reed dumps it in behind the net. Sharp puts it in. Big hit from Maglio. Puck is loose. Reed trying to chase down. Dumps it in behind the net again. Sheriff loses it. Phillips trying to get to it. And Walker comes up with it and loses it again. Lerner fires towards the net. Sails left. Walker still trying to get it. Trying to put it in front. He can't get it there. Reed now has the puck. Brings it behind the net. Looking for an open man. Gives it to Lerner. Lerner over to shoots it. Goes past his skate. And off his pads. A little bit of huge shot from Richmond. Lerner still with the puck behind the net. Trying to get to Owen. And dumps it into the zone again. Goes way down to the other end of the ice. No icing will be called. As Lerner brings it out from behind Temple's net. Trying to get it to Lerner. It goes past his stick. And Wiley will just dump it in. Gives it off to Contos. Takes a shot. Goes past his skate and can't connect. Owen gives it off to Stalaccio. Stalaccio fires towards the net. Sails high. Owen dumps it off. No one's there to receive the pass, so it goes back to center ice. And Moran's just forced to dump it in again. This one's going to sail all the way back towards the blue line. Stonefield there to receive it. Races towards the net. Goes behind it. Price trying to break it up. Erie's trying to help him break it up. Contos trying to receive it. Pilarski fires towards the net. Bounces off his glove. Still loose in front. Ringwood trying to put it in front. And Rusnak will jump on top of it. Nearly had a glove save, but it bounced out of his glove. It was loose in front, but able to jump on top of it the second time around. As Ringwood will get set to take this face off against Contos. Puck is loose. DeSantis brings it up. DeSantis trying to put it in front of the net, goes into the corner. And Moore trying to put it. DeSantis scores! Scoring off the rebound. Lance DeSantis makes it a 3-1 game for George Mason. The puck went into the corner, then went behind it. Trying to put it in front. It was a loose puck in front. DeSantis pokes it in to get the second goal of the game. Tanner Rusnak encouraging the offensive onslaught. Back from the net now. Dumps it over to Wiley. Temple, 14 minutes to tie things up. Rudolph brings it up over the middle. Barrett has to wait for him to cross. Rudolph fires towards the net, goes off his stick and out of play. A lot of too much force behind that one. Rusnak drops, bounces his stick away. And credit to him in the net tonight. 33 shots faced, only 1 goal allowed. Temple wins the draw. Ruski brings it off. Quinn, it fires and it goes left. Reach kind of keep it in play. As Lynch brings it up, but Temple breaks up the fast break. It gives it off to Barrett. Barrett fires towards the net. It sails left. Barrett chasing after the zone. Quinn Alley ready for the check. Barrett still fighting for it in front. Rudolph comes up with the loose puck, trying to get it back into the zone. He will, just fling it in. Buczki chasing after it, goes behind the net. Alley comes up with it. Gives it off to Dylan. Barrett breaks it up. Back over the middle. Off back in Temple zone. Whistle is blowing it dead. Looks like an offsides might be called. Both these teams looking for the 9th win of the year, trying to get back into playoff contention as the season begins to wind down. We're now in the latter half. Sauer gives it off to Maglio. Runner races up to the right side, dumps it over to Walker, trying to get after it. Loose puck. Phillips comes up with it. Phillips brings it into the corner, trying to get it to Walker, goes behind the net. Now he's looking to dump it out into the neutral zone, and he will. Lerner, using his hand, gets it back into George Mason's zone. Maglio can't hang on to it. As Contos brings it up, fires, and it goes left or right. Sauer will bring it up, back keeps it himself, will bring it backtrack now. Brings it behind the net, waiting for the whole line change. Lerner, brings it up. Gives it over to Walker. Walker trying to put it in front. Loose puck behind the net, goes into the corner. Phillips chasing after it. Walker now goes into the corner. Sheriff trying to chase after it. Puck's right in front. Phillips fires, and it goes off the pads. Phillips was still offside, so he had to get back into the center ice. It's a fight for in front of the announcer's box. As Reed comes over and takes the slap shot right into the gut of Rusnak. Layden Reed, that would have been his first goal of the season had he been able to connect. Instead, George Mason still leads 3-1, 11:43 to play in the third. We're getting set for the face-off against Contos. It's usually Dylan instead. Kolarski gives it off and goes back to center ice. They're forced to retreat. Dumps it into the zone. Reed trying to get after it. Loose puck. Erie has it now. Trying to get it to Reed. Gets past Stonefield. Booth racing up. One man to beat. Booth fires, and he goes left. Erie trying to poke this puck free, and he will. Ringwood comes up with it. Ringwood loses it, trying to put it in front for an open man. Trying to get to Erie, he can't. Dylan breaks it up, and he brings it up over the middle. 3-on-2 now for George Mason. Dylan fires towards the net, and it goes off the pads. He keeps it in play. Clark trying to put it in front. Open man, still open spot. Ringwood gets it over. Kolarski racing up, back to Ringwood, chasing into the corner. Alley ready to take the hit, and Ringwood avoids it. Loose puck in front, Alley comes up with it. Gives it off, trying to get it over to the middleman, trying to get to Braden Miller. Sauer just dumps it behind. Barrett trying to get past McCall, and he can't. Sauer forced to dump it out to the other side. Touches Allen's stick, so no icing's called. Now they'll bring it up the left side. Gets to McCauley. Dumps it into Temple zone. Sauer gets the puck. Moves it behind. Cuts back. Gives it over to Barrett. Barrett's going to bring it behind again. Gives it off to Reed. Looking for a man. He's just going to fling it to the other end of the ice, trying to get it to Barrett. Barrett with it in the corner now, gives it off. Rudolph fires! Hits him in the face mask, but somehow saves it! Rudolph with a huge shot. Rusnak hitting right in the face with that one. Butsky with it, one man to beat, trying to cut inside, trying to put it in the middle, no one there to receive it. Gives it off to Lerner. Lerner back to Guniet. Guniet over to Butsky, trying to put it in. Rusnak will just dump it wide. Barrett with it now, still fighting for it. Butsky trying to find open man. Gives it off, fires towards the net, and it goes off his pads again. Rudolph trying to get to Barrett. Butsky with it now, still loose in front, and he gets it out of the zone. Great defense. Once again, some great goalkeeping from Rusnak. Icing is called, or a timeout rather will be called. An onslaught of shots from Temple, but Rusnak remains a wall in net. Looks like we will be getting a timeout. Initially, it looked like it was icing. It was icing. They will get a timeout here, though. But that line from Temple, I mean, Rudolph, Walker, everyone, Butsky, everyone was getting shots on him, and somehow he was able to stay upright. I don't know how in the world he's doing this. Just an absolutely incredible performance from Tanner Rusnak. If things stand the way they are, this will be his 5th win of the season in net. And in his stats, from his stats, looking at him just playing, averaging 4.5 goals allowed per game, you wouldn't be able to tell that from the performance he's having here tonight. He's having himself a game and a half, 39 shots faced, only 1 goal allowed. And it was off a power play, so you can't even really discredit him for that one. And Temple, they have been out shooting them, George Mason, by 15 shots, 39 shots to 24, and yet they only have 1 goal. George Mason, on the other hand, just scoring on something about everything. They're scoring on miscues, they're scoring on power plays, they're scoring on everything. As Price and Phillips get set for the face-off. Ends up with Wiley, he's gonna dump it into the corner to the other end. Galacio trying to hang on, fires towards the net, loose puck in front, still somehow doesn't go in, he goes off the post! How in the world does it not go in? Gives it off, Sauer fires towards the net. Goes back to center ice, Price all alone, no one to beat. Price takes a shot, goes in! Matthew Price, his 9th goal of the season. And what turned into a near goal for Temple turns into another goal for George Mason. And a complete miscue from the defense. He flung it out. Matt Price was waiting to receive the pass over the middle. No one was there to catch him. He had he was past both defensemen. And no one there to be, and that could very well be the dagger right there. Still plenty of time to score, and Temple has been unleashing the shots. And it's likely going to get very physical. Owen with a huge hit against Wiley. Gives it over to Reed. Fires towards the net, goes left. Guniet trying to keep it in play. He will. Owen fires again, he goes left. Owen trying to keep it in play, he can't. Racing up the ice again, this time Chapman brings it up, shoots, and they score again. Chapman took the shot. It looked like just Sandus tipped it in at the end there. Regardless, it is now a 5-1 game in the blink of an eye. Wow. Temple being very aggressive on their last few chances in the George Mason zone. The problem is they haven't had anyone back there in case the offensive attack breaks down. And that's been the main reason for these last 2 goals. It has been confirmed Patrick Chapman did score. DeSantis was there after the fact. Looked like he might have finished it off, but they'll give it to Chapman. as Dylan brings it up to Lynch. Lynch brings it up. Clark trying to get a shot off. Pilarski there to stop him. As Glick trying to jump on top of it, waiting for the whistle. And a fight in front of the net now. Helmet's off now. We have two fights going on, one in the corner and one right in front of the net. He's getting very physical late in the game, just 7:37 left to play. And we're going to get a full line change here. We might get a switch in net as well. Instead, Glick just giving back the helmet. Two penalties were called on the play. Looks like both will be fighting. One against Ryder Clark for George Mason. The other one's still waiting to see. It looked like it was against Stonefield. It was. This will be a 4-on-4. It's a good reminder that tomorrow the Owls will travel to Westchester for the first matchup against them since all the way back in November. Last time they faced, I was on the call for that game as well. At 4 p.m. they will pull, and they'll have it here on the TU Ice Network. We get set. It'll be 4-on-4. It was indeed against Ryder Clark for George Mason and Ian Stonefield for Temple. Be a 4-on-4 situation as we get set for the final minutes of the third period. Gives it off to Wiley. Trying to get it past Rudolph. He will. Wiley with it back at center ice. Luchke brings it up. Loses the puck. Chapman breaks it up. Wiley trying to get past Rudolph. It'll hit the net. Once again, narrowly avoiding our cameraman. This time Jacob Smedley on the camera. Rudolph taking the face off, and George Mason goes behind the net. Miller trying to bring it up, gives it off to Chapman. Gonna get past Barrett, and then Lerner comes out with it off his stick. Lerner gets decked into the boards. Rudolph will bring it back into his own zone. Rudolph brings it up left side, trying to fire towards net, but two defenders in his way. Trash talk in front of the net from the goalie in the process. And Barrett trying to catch the loose puck. Luski with it. Brings it back up towards the blue line over to Guniet. Guniet cuts inside, trying to find a lane. Still looking for an open man to pass it to. Trying to get it back to the blue line. It'll be interrupted by McGrath. Goes back in center ice. Miller just going to dump it in. Both teams being very physical with each other late in the game. As Luski will bring it up once again, trying to get it past Lynch, and he can't. Maglio loses it. Walker loses it himself. McCauley bringing it up, getting it past Guniet. And he's just going to jump on top of it. Interestingly enough, Stephen Glick in net, only 2.65 goals allowed per game this season, a 91.4 save percentage. Credits to George Mason. They've been taking full advantage of the miscues and mismatches that they've had against the Owls here tonight. 18 seconds left in both penalties. Puck goes behind the net. Walker chasing after it. Wiley in pursuit of it. McCauley up against the corner again, fighting up against Brett Phillips. Reed with it now on the other side of the ice, brings it behind the net. We're at even strength, 5-on-5 once again. Phillips brings it up the right side. He's just going to dump it in behind the net. Alley's quick waiting for it. Collision in front of the net. Walker trying to grab at it. Instead, it'll end up on the stick of Alley. He's going to try and dump it in once again. Big hit over the middle. And a whistle will be blown. Huge hit there. Nicholas Tangora hitting Blade and Reed right over the middle of the ice. So just when George Mason got out of their penalty, they'll go right back into the box. This time they'll be on the penalty kill. It was against Contos that time. It will be a 2-minute penalty. It looks like it will be a cross-checking. And Price is able to win this face-off. And that one was 2 inches away from our face. Oh my goodness. Woo. Thankfully no one was hurt. Oh, it's out a couple laps late. Temple will face off once again. 1:57 left in their power play. 5:06 left to play in the game. Guniet gives it over to Pilarski, loses it. He's going to dump it back into the center ice. Guniet chasing after it. Temple, if they want any chance of a comeback, they do not have time to waste. They need to take full advantage of this power play as quickly as they can. Erie now has it, brings it up. Erie looking for a man in the middle, trying to get it to. Comes it back to Guniet. Over Maglio. Back to Maglio again in the middle. Sauer fires towards on net. He can't get it. As Marisco brings it up. Trying to get to Dylan in the middle, who's waiting to receive the pass. Dylan trying to get it, he can't. So no penalty kill goal for George Mason. Sauer brings it up. Hunter needs to get back on sides and be able to just in the nick of time. Sauer trying to put it in front, he cannot get it. And another nice save from Rusnak. One minute gone on the power play, 4:09 left on the clock. Alley dumping it all the way to the other end of the ice. No icing's called. As they bring it up, Lerner will keep it. Brings it up across the middle. 40 seconds left in the power play. Boosky trying to dump it in. Another nice stop from the penalty kill for George Mason. As Lerner will once again bring it up the left side. Gives it to Stonefield. Stonefield brings it behind the net, trying to find the man. Gives it to Barrett. Barrett loses it, can't get it. Boosky can't hang on. Lerner back to center ice, and they're forced to back up once again. That might just about end the power play. 5 seconds left. Indeed, it will. Stonefield cuts across the middle, brings it up, fires towards the net, and it goes behind. Barrett trying to lay out a hit. Boosky still with it. Flaunts it towards the net. Rudolph now with it. Trying to fire again. It goes right into the stomach of Rusnak. Unbelievable. 43 saves now for Rusnak. And barring that power play goal, he would have had a complete game shutout, facing nearly 50 shots in net. And Reed dumps it in, gives it off to Owen. Stalasio with it. Reed looking to get in front. Gives it off to Guniet. Cuts and then still with it. Trying to get it to Richmond. Richmond can't hang on. Still with it now. Ends up on the stick of Reeves. Forced to flick it over to Guniet. Goes behind the net. Palacio trying to chase after Richmond and following. McCauley comes up for the Patriots. McGrath brings it up, goes into the corner. He's pucked for it now. Stalacio comes up with it. Stalacio loses it. Goes out into the new center ice again. They'll just fling it towards the net. Maglio now with it. Fires towards the net and it goes high. Phillips is knocked down in the process. Maglio trying to put it back in front of the net and he still can't. Can't hang on. It goes back to center ice. McGrath and Dillon leading the way for George Mason. Trying to put it in front. They cannot get it. It goes behind the Temple net. Under 2 minutes to play in the third. Maglio trying to fight pass. Gives it off. Phillips gives it. Fires. Goes off the leg. Huge hit there from McGrath. Trying to knock Maglio down. He can't. This puck's going to sail all the way back to center ice. Back into Temple zone. Guniet has to fling it back to center ice. And hang on to it. He'll bring it in. Guniet now with the puck. As the final minute gets underway. And Dillon will bring it in once again. As we enter the final minute, a tough loss for Temple, barring a miracle. Takes a shot and it sails off the target. Trying to poke it in. They'll just kick it out of their zone. As the final takes away Temple, falling to 9-11. George Mason, however, improving to 9-10-1. Clock is now off as time winds down. Just under 20 left to play. Whistle blows dead as the clock, for some reason, just shut off. As we get things back underway. 18 seconds left to play. Temple will fall to 9-11. They'll look to bounce back against Westchester tomorrow at 4 p.m. You can catch that game here on the Temple Ice Network on YouTube. We'll have live game coverage from Westchester. And Stalacio trying to just hold on to the puck. George Mason just trying to get out of this. No more hits. As clean as they can. And with that, that will just about do it. So the final score here from the Igloo, the visiting George Mason Patriots, 5, the Temple Owls, 1. Huge performance in net from Tanner Rusnag. 44 shots faced, only 1 goal allowed, 43 saves in the evening. Just incredible. A rough night in net for Stephen Glick, but he'll look to bounce back tomorrow. 8-6 now in the season. Tanner Rusnag improving to 5-5. It was a close game entering the third period, but then George Mason just pouring on the points in the final minutes to make it a 4-goal lead. And that just about wraps it up. Final score from the Igloo, 5-1. Temple falling to 9-11. George Mason improving to 9-10-1. That will just about do it for us, but thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Matt Raniere for our entire crew. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your evening.